Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Chapter 16 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, titled The Singularity of Fate.
And there's a change going on in this world right now, yeah.
So we got Ida on the cover, and this looks like almost like a magazine cover. It's actually really impressive. And something very interesting here in white bold lettering. It says, "Love looks not with the mind, but with the eyes." Kind of reminds me of beauty is the eye of the beholder, like someone's perception that can determine what is beauty and what is love. So great stuff there, great stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and so let's go ahead and flip the page, or in this case, we're gonna scroll the page here. So we begin with this panel. Looks like there's a lot of explanation here, and so looking at some of the earlier spoilers, looks like we're gonna find out how Boruto learned the Flying Raijin. And so, looks like this might be Kajin Koji speaking here. He says, "Space-time ninjutsu. It instantly transports you or other people anywhere. As with flying, it's a basic Otosuki ability. You've manifested it several times in the past, but they were all single accidental bursts under limited, irreproducible circumstances. So it's something that you cannot control. However, in about 6 years' time, you managed to master it." All right, we're using that ninja psychic ability here. Yeah. So Kajin Koji, he later then explained, by marking metal objects with your chakra so that you can sense them, you've evolved it into a ninjutsu that enables you to move freely and instantly wherever you want. Oh, that's interesting. So it's like his own variation of the Flying Raijin. Not quite an exact copy like his grandfather did or the second Hokage did. So it's its own variation. This is really cool. So, and we're at page 3. Kajin Koji then explains, and that is the Flying Raijin Jutsu. Boruto responds, "Flying Raijin?" Kajin goes on with, "Yes, you named it after the similar jutsu favored by your grandfather Namikaze Minato, the 4th Hokage." My favorite Hokage, by the way. And then Kajin goes on more, says, "In truth, they are two different jutsu. You actually don't know the real Flying Raijin, as you sought to control a space-time ninjutsu. You devised on your own a copycat Flying Raijin that produced near identical results." Then Boruto says, "Devised? I'm a genius?"
That's exactly right, yeah.
"Except all I feel right now is pressure." Yeah, that can happen. Sometimes true geniuses don't really realize that they're a genius until someone explains that, "Oh no, you're quite the genius. You kind of underrated yourself there." We are now at page 4. So it looks like we got some more training action from Boruto. So there's a shuriken on the branch there, just dangling down like a dart. And then looks like Boruto is climbing up the tree. And it looks like this is a voiceover from Kajin Koji. So it further explains, metal objects are the most suitable for chakra marking. That is the optimal solution that you reach through trial and error. Boruto says, "Metal?" And then Kajin says, "Of course. Shuriken, kunai, even decorations and utensils. Any metal object can be used for displacement. And if it was within your visual range, the translocation would be easier and more accurate." Right, we're at page 5 now. And so we continue with Boruto. "Within visual range, huh? Are you saying that it's difficult to teleport far away?" Kajin then says, "Let's say you've got 2 chakra-marked shuriken, one far to the north and the other to the south. You sense the chakra on the objects and try to translocate, but in this case, you have no clue at which of the 2 shuriken you'll arrive." And so Boruto then replies, "Makes sense, could be a problem." Kajin says, "It would not be an issue if only one object were in play at a time. But then you wouldn't be taking full advantage of the utility of this jutsu. And so you came up with," then we go to the next page, page 6. So Kajin says, the idea to use symbols. And so he goes on, and Boruto is just listening intently. Each metal object would be a distinct shape, and visualizing that unique symbol would make it possible to accurately transport to your intended coordinates, even if they were far away. Okay, that makes a lot of sense from some of the previous chapters where Kajin Koji, he relays to him, hey, it's at the square, or it's at this area. So that makes a lot of sense now. That makes total sense. So then we continue. Boruto says, I see. So I should prepare a variety of metal objects, exclusively for teleporting myself long distances. Kajin says, indeed, but the further you want to displace yourself, the greater the powers of concentration necessary. And so Boruto says, so the longer the distance, the harder it is. I guess I have a lot of training ahead of me. And then we're at page 7. Kajin says, listen, Boruto, in just a few minutes, you've acquired theories and knowledge that took the future you many years to cobble together. But knowledge alone is not enough. In order to truly master the Flying Raijin, you'll need to study and practice an extraordinary amount. And then so, we got Boruto hanging by the tree there with his shuriken. And then Boruto then replies with, that's not a problem. Let's keep going. I've got a ton of things to do. Page 8. And so looks like telling by this background here. Looks like one of the hideouts of Orochimaru. And then Boruto says, I don't get it. If you can see both good and bad futures, why not tell everyone everything and have them help? Wouldn't that guarantee things go in a good direction? And then so Kajin has his reply, of course, to this, and he says, it is truly ironic, but the more people that know it, the more the nature of that future will change. He then goes on with, once you know a future, you can no longer act the same as you before you knew it. Instead, it will branch in complex ways, making it more difficult to predict.
Proper perspective.
That's a good point. I mean, that's why you got to be careful when you read any kind of psychic predictions or prophecies. While it's good to know those things, even if you tell certain people, some people are going to be naturally skeptical about it, and the ones that could possibly believe it could create a different series of complex scenarios that weren't originally envisioned. So that's just my 2 cents on that. So page 9. Kajin then explains, to the point of completely negating the advantage of foreseeing the future by precedence, not prescience, I made that mistake, it's precedence. Boruto then is reacting to this, and Kajin says, for better or worse, to know the future leads to the act of destroying it. And then he further goes on with, and in particular, the more futures you know, the greater you diverge from the track called fate, and become a singularity, a heretical existence, which makes the future unstable. Boruto says, singularity? And so Kajin further explains, so it's better for most folks to not know anything, for things to proceed towards a good future. And the duty of we singularities of fate is to aid the paths to the good futures from the shadows. Alright, this is really great stuff. Makes a lot of great points. The psychic ninja ability is awesome. Alright, so page 10, Boruto says, we? Kajin then further says, just like me, you become a singularity. Then Boruto just has that expression there, and then Kajin ends with and. It looks like we're going to get a conclusion here, and so page 11. Looks like Ida has been looking at this conversation with her Senragon. Good stuff. So she is now in the know here. And then so Kajin says, as have you who will likely see this sooner or later, Ida.
Proper perspective.
Like, Kajin already knows. Like, you already know. So here it is. And so Ida is listening in intently. She then responds with singularity of fate. All right. And then page 12. Now we have Sarda and Sumeri class rep. Sarda says, well, Ida, any luck? And then Ida says, it seems as if Boruto isn't saying much. He must have his reasons. It feels to me like he's doing it to prevent unnecessary danger to the two of you. All right, good cover. I mean, Ida could have easily just said, he's angry with Kashin Koji. He's done it in the past, or something like that. And so, this is some good stuff here overall. So then Sumeri also has her reaction to this naturally. And then Sarda says that might be the case, but he's always taking everything on by himself. So page 13. As for Konoha, they won't stop seeing or treating him as an enemy, even though it's obvious we have a mutual foe. But it's up to us three to help. And Sarda says, hey, where's Boruto right now anyway? Sumeri says, Sarda, I don't think Boruto wants us to know. Sarda says, huh? Sumeri says, we may have taken Boruto's side outwardly, yet we know almost no crucial intel about him. And Sumeri class rep goes on with, but I think it's because of that we've been able to live freely like this. Sarda says class rep, and then Sumeri goes on with, so I feel what we ought to be doing is not chase after Boruto. Then Sarda has her response to this, and she says, but you saw it too, didn't you? If it had gone badly, Boruto might have died instead of just being wounded. And now we go to page 15. So a lot of compelling dialogue and a lot of really observing what the thought process is with Boruto's allies and what's at stake here. So this is great stuff. So then we continue with Sarda. It's too reckless for him to take those monsters on by himself. Sumeri then replies with, have you considered the possibility that he got hurt because we were there? And Damon is just chilling, just laying there like the kid he is on the lap of Ida. And then Sarda then continues on, what? Sumeri then goes on with, you might want to try putting yourself in Boruto's shoes. All right, and then with page 16, Sumeri has more to say. Do you really think he likes having to keep things from us? Has there been even a moment when you've reflected on his pain? And then Sarda says class rep. Sumeri looks like Sumeri goes on with, and not just Boruto's feelings, but mine too. And here we go on page 17. Sumeri then continues, you do know, don't you, that I like Boruto a lot. And yet, you just leapt into his arms. Here we go. We got the high school girl drama. Oh man, I haven't seen this in a while. So we get that hug. The hug of doom.
The cream of the crop.
Sumeri has to witness this. Now page 18. Sumeri looks like she's displaying a bit of despair, maybe mixed feelings of what she's trying to communicate here. She then goes on with, I've tried to be respectful of your feelings, to understand that your reaction in that moment was to be expected. But what about you, Sarda? When you were in front of me, did you think about my feelings at all? Even just a little bit?
Proper perspective.
And it looks like Sarda really just doesn't know how to really react at this time. It looks like she's trying to process all of this here. And then looks like, of course, Ida is right next to Sarda, and just the third party just witnessing this develop. So then with page 19, we now get to really see Ida's reaction, her internal monologue here. She says, awkward. It's so tense, I'm afraid to even twitch. And yet, this is crazy fun. Keep going. It's almost like she's getting off on this, like, oh, this is juicy drama. Continue, please continue. This is entertaining. So anyway, Sumeri then continues on with, sorry, I didn't mean to bring this up, especially at a time like this. Is really a loss for words. It's almost like she really does not know what to really say or even how to process this, especially a time when a lot of things are at stake. You wanted to bring in some high school girl drama. You gotta be freaking kidding me.
Just like a woman.
Yeah, all conversations are put aside right now, you know what I mean?
So then we're at page 20. We got more of Sumeri. And looks like, based off of this final facial reaction, almost runs off. Sarda says, oh, wait, class rep. And looks like there's some irritation from Sumri based off of this angle behind the back. And then she replies with, "How much longer will I still be a class rep? To you."
Things are in proper perspective.
Page 21. Sarada is just lost for words, really trying to digest and process what the hell just happened. We're trying to find Boruto. We're trying to help him, and you want to bring in some high school girl drama. Great.
Just like a woman.
Okay, and then looks like Sarada just stands there next to Ida, and then Ida. It's like there's an incoming communication. Ida, it's Shikamaru. If you have a minute, I'd like to talk to you. And then we're at the Hokage headquarters there, Hokage building. And so we transition to page 22. Looks like we got, I think that's one of the feudal lords, if I remember, from Naruto. Of course, I can't remember his name. I'm sure they'll mention his name here. So then he is talking to the two elders that are still alive. He then opens up with, "What is going on? I heard he's been in the village several times. Moreover," talking to them by video chat here on the monitor, he continues with, "Moreover, you let him slip right through your fingers when you had him in custody. He's one measly rogue ninja. Why haven't you been able to dispose of him already?" And so the elders, they make their reply, "Please forgive this appalling, inexcusable blunder." And it looks like the daimyo boss, he says, "Recapture him and snuff him out quickly. Should you fail, those responsible will end up being brought to task." And then the elder man, he says, "Rest assured, Lord Daimyo, we shall put an end to this in a manner that suits your wishes." Alright, it's kind of like how middle management is talking to the CEO of the company and getting kind of cussed out. Well, they're not really getting cussed out. They're being talked down on that you're supposed to handle this. Why haven't you? Get it done. Get it done.
Things are in proper perspective.
So now, page 23. So we continue on with where it looks like Shikamaru and Ida are personally meeting here. And then Shikamaru looks like this is his line here. He says, "If it were up to me, I'd rather not meet up with you in person." And then Shikamaru says, "As looking at you muddles my thoughts." And Ida says, "I didn't want the sensory unit eavesdropping. Besides, I like it when you're out of sorts. It's cute and endearing." That's a weird compliment, but okay.
Just like a woman.
And so Shikamaru says, "And what of Sans circumstances?" And on page 24, Ida says, "Unfortunately, it's just as you predicted. There's a new divine tree person. His name is Ryu, modeled on that Tsunka Guthrie boy." And so Shikamaru says, "Shinki? Damn it." And Ida says, "And his target is the Kazakage." And Shikamaru says, "Gara!" That shot here of Shinki rocking around the Shinki tree and the encased black covering of the iron sand that protects Gara. Looks like this is a voiceover from Ida. She says, "The Kazakage is safe for now, since he's sealed away. But Ryu is able to undo that seal. Likely because it's his jutsu to begin with." We transition to page 25. So Shikamaru says, "We need to take down Ryu for Gara's sake. I'll arrange a mission to Sunagurkuri stat." And then Ida says she has more to say. She says, "By the way, what I saw is from a few hours ago. It wasn't real time." And then Shikamaru says, "What?" Ida says, "There's an annoying divine tree who is actually able to look into my eyes when I'm watching with a Senrigan." And then Shikamaru says, "That's possible? Is it some sort of ability?" Ida says, "I'm not sure, but it made my blood run cold. I don't know what he might have done if he'd kept watching." Then we're at page 26. Ida then goes on with, "So I apologize, but please don't ask me to watch them in real time anymore." And then Shikamaru says, "Understood. No worries. Past events are fine. I'm grateful for whatever intel you can gather and report." And then Ida says, "Oh, and about Boruto." She says, "You're the one who set it up, right? Helped him escape. Yuji Mitsuki?" Shikamaru looks like he's gonna remain with that poker face of his, and he says, "What are you talking about?" And on page 27, Ida says, "Don't play dumb. Relax. I won't tattle on you to Konoha. I mean, it wouldn't be to my advantage to endanger your position. Besides," we got this shot here of Boruto Looks like it says, I just don't intend to reveal anything to you. I haven't told a single lie. Looks like that's a flashback moment of what Boruto said from a previous chapter. And then Ida says, above all else, I don't want to cause Boruto trouble. Shikamaru is just listening in, and then looks like Ida kind of wants to retract what she just said, and she then responds with, forget I said that. I was thinking out loud.
Proper perspective.
Now we go to page 28. Again, this is dialogue heavy, so if this puts you to sleep, I'm sorry. Feel free to just rewind the video if you'd like. So then, Ida then says, Kwaki's agreed to team up with him for now. So, if you want something done about those divine trees, I'd leave the two of them alone to do it. And then looks like Shikamaru looks like he has something to say, and then he then says, Ida, Boruto has a mystery accomplice. Have you seen him? Then Ida looks like she's thinking a bit, and then Shikamaru says, he previously spoke to me in the form of a toad. That toad was familiar. It's Kajin Koji, isn't it? And it looks like Ida, looks like she's not answering right away, so let's see if she answers in this next page, page 29. So then we reveal on the back of the hair of Ida, there's the toad. The toad! Filbert, as they call him on Twitter. As sharp as ever, Nara Shikamaru. And yes, you are correct. And then this puts a shock to Shikamaru's eyes here, and then the toad goes on with, listen closely. I'll give you the gist. No questions, all right? And Shikamaru says, what? I love that facial reaction right there. What? Yeah. What? Right, so we continue here. And then the toad says, Saratobi, Konohamaru, Chiya Sarada, and Mitsuki. Deploy those three to the land of wind. And then Shikamaru's just still kind of in shock right here. So then, we are now at page 30. We continue on with the toad. Either Ryu or Matusari are bound to show up there. Or perhaps even both together. Have your trio team up with two sand ninja to slay them. And then Shikamaru, he's just inquiring, hold on a minute. Explain what's going on. Give me a convincing reason why.
Face is the place.
And then, of course, the toad, Kajin Koji, then goes on with, I told you, no questions.
You've had your warning.
If it's not enough to convince them, then come up with something plausible.
Doesn't really matter, yeah.
Shikamaru says, what? Then the toad goes on with, one other thing, do not let Uzumaki Himawari outside of Konoha. Jura has set his eyes on her. If she steps outside of Konoha, it may draw his notice, and it will result in her death. Alright, Shikamaru, you wanted more intel? Well, you got it, so you better act on it. And knowing him, he will. So then page 31, we go on with more dialogue here from the toad. Fortunately, Jura holds Konoha's cultural value in high esteem, and he himself is reluctant to wage battle within the village. So he's barring any extreme circumstances. She should be safe for now, as long as she stays within the village boundaries. And then Filbert the Toad, he goes on with, and notify everyone to treat him as an extraordinary customer. If Jura happens to pay a visit to the bookstore or some such, and then Shikamaru is just in shock. Are you serious?
That's exactly right, yeah.
And then the toad, Kajin, he goes on with, this is no joke. What is most critical is not to provoke Jura. Understand that if you truly anger him, we have no chance of winning. Absolutely none. And Shikamaru is just trying to digest this and process this. So it's like, oh man, are you serious? So Jura's weakness is the bookstore. All right. He definitely loves to read, so yeah, let him be a customer. Wonder if there's going to be a discount for divine trees. It's free, since you kind of just killed our ninja, so it's free! Just don't kill us, please.
You're hurting bad.
So, page 32. All right, we got more from Filbert the Toad here. To avoid Jura intervening, we'll hit the others with the minimum force required. And if Jura shows up, retreat immediately. And then Shikamaru is just trying to digest this, and Ida is... I don't even know how to read that facial reaction from Ida. It's like, oh, there's been a toad in my hair all this time. All right, great. And so, looks like the toad is making his exit and says, that's all for me. I wish you luck. And then Shikamaru says, hey, hold on. And then Filbert the Toad stops. Is he going to say one last line to close it out? It's like, there's more. So the Toad says, my belated thanks for your assistance in Boruto's escape. I'm very much obliged. Shikamaru's just looking down, just really can't believe what has just happened. And then the Toad says, you followed your heart, going against village laws and your fellows to carry it out without any proof of truth. And then continue on here on this middle panel to do what you believed was right. I will not coerce you. Keep following your heart to achieve a good future. And so it looks like he finally has closed out this line of dialogue. All right, what a revelation, what a reveal. Yeah, page 34. And so boing, hop goes the Toad, Filbert as they call him on Twitter X. And then, looks like, after all that, Shikamaru, he needs a cigarette. I don't blame him. I mean, I don't smoke, but I mean, I can understand his stress and anxiety. He's got to pop one, and he says, yeesh, what a bother. And then there's Ida right there standing, and we get the Shikamaru just lighting up his cigarette, puffing and puffing. Page 35. Looks like Ida's remembering what was said, follow your heart. Huh. And then we got Sumire, class rep. She then has her own little inner monologue here. Why the heck did I bring that up?
Just like a woman.
Looks like we now transition to the land of sand. Page 36. Here is the trifecta. We got on the right side Mitsuki with his headband to really display his swag and riz. And then we got Sarda, and oh, she actually has her headband. You can barely see it, but she's wearing it on top of her head. Very stylish. Very demure.
Just like a woman.
And then, of course, we got Kamaharu. It's weird seeing him with like that trench coat there, but it's actually pretty cool. I'm digging his style there.
Funky like a monkey.
Probably make a good cosplay. I'll have to consider that in the future if I ever get into cosplaying. So we got Sarda, we got Mitsuki in the bottom panels, and then now, page 37. Mitsuki says, Sarda, is something wrong? Sarda says, nah, it's nothing, I'm fine. And then Komaharu says, don't space out, or the Sand Ninja will make fun of you. Good point. They probably would.
Proper perspective.
Here we go on the bottom panel here. The trifecta here. They're greeted by the Sand Ninja that are standing on some landscaping, a rock landscape, and one of them says, Master Kamaharu. And Kamaharu says, Yodo and Arya. And then here's the official greeting. Welcome to the Land of Wind. Oh, Land of Wind, which is part of the Sand Village. Okay, sorry about that technicality. And then, so, welcome to the Land of Wind. We appreciate your help. And, of course, Komaharu just exchanging the politeness. Thank you, too. Now let's get moving. All right, getting down to business. Yeah.
That's exactly right, yeah.
We got the team up, the mega powers, as Macho Man would probably say,
Yeah.
between the leaf and the sand. And then page 39, looks like we got some wind, breeze kind of blowing for the background, and looks like there's some more dialogue. That area with all the columnar rocks corresponds to the coordinates we were told about. And then Mitsuki says, Master, where did Lord Eighth get this intel? Komaharu says, I don't know. It's supposedly a reliable source, but I'm dubious about it as well. And then, all right, we got some conversation with Sarda, with the Sand Ninja. Yo, been a while. Your aura's changed a lot. Into a guy?
Just like a woman.
It's almost like she can sense it. It's like, I know what you're thinking, girl to girl. Then Sarda says, huh? Oh no. Not that it matters. And then Komaharu says, found him. Divine Tree people. Yeah, there we go. We got Ryu and Matusari. They're looking at a lion toad. We got Filbert there. Filbert. What is this? Is this the toad? And page 41, Komaharu says, damn it, there's two of them. And then we conclude with a clue. All right, to be continued. Had some technical difficulties trying to scroll the page there. Trying to zoom in and zoom out. Usually it's something I don't really do that much, but want to give it a try for this next video here. And so if you liked the video, if you like me voiceover, narrating, commentating, and reacting. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe for more. Click on that bell notification so you know when I post next. And until next time, same Handsome King content, same Nerdy Bear, everything. Ooh yeah! Dig it!